What's my favorite draft strategy in 2020? It's the two-headed and three-headed monster, which I'm going to go over right now. And then after, we're doing the face-off game. I know you love the face-off game. Let's go. Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show. I want to emphasize something real quick. I can't emphasize enough how much I love the two-headed monster, something I've been writing on and doing for 16 plus years in the business, where you go after 2 of the top 3 overall players. You can do this in auction. Think about it. Barkley, McCaffrey. Those are my 2 clear-cut top 2 overall players in 2020. You can afford both of them, probably even at max value in an auction for like $80. So you'll have enough money left over to potentially get a Kyler Murray. That to me is the tripod, the two-headed monster with the almost 3-headed monster QB you're tossing on the top of that. So Kyler Murray, Barkley, and McCaffrey, give me that every time in an auction. And you can trade up. It's a little harder to do this. It takes a lot of determination and aggressive trading tactics. And I have videos on this. Watch them on my YouTube channel on how to draft, pick, trade. But in an auction, you can walk out with Barkley and McCaffrey in almost every auction you do, because both of them are not costing over $100. And you can get, again, a Kyler Murray, maybe a Ben Roethlisberger, and a Cam Newton if you had to go super cheap at QB. But it's really important, if you do this, to get a solid QB. That's why I introduce you to the 3-headed monster, which is, in a draft, you can do this a little better than in an auction, but you have to finagle your picks around, do a lot of 2-for-1s, kick that can down the road. Watch my video to get more on that exact approach, but getting the number 1, number 2 overall pick out of the hat is what you need to kind of get this rolling in a regular snake draft, because you already have Barkley or McCaffrey, and really then you just got to maneuver your picks around to get one more. So if you trade your 2nd and your 5th and you get the number 2 overall, and let's say you already had the 1 overall, or if you want to throw Zeke Elliott in the mix, I'll take him. But it has to be Elliott, Barkley, or McCaffrey, 2 of those running backs to be considered one of the best two-headed monsters we've seen in fantasy football in over a decade. Honestly, I can't think of 2 running backs that are better than Barkley and McCaffrey, better suited for this approach. I can't think of it. Something has to be past a decade. Maybe Tomlinson, Falk, back in those days. I don't know how many of you even played fantasy football when Tomlinson and Falk were the guys. That's the kind of distance we have to put between now and the past to find 2 running backs that are as good of a two-headed monster than these 2. And I throw Zeke Elliott in that mix. That's fine. So my advice, if you can, in a snake draft, try and get Pat Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey, and either Barkley or Elliott. But Barkley and McCaffrey specifically, I think those 2 help you dominate in 2020. And if you land your sleepers, yes, it's a crazy approach. I know a lot of people won't like it. If it's not for you, don't do it. But for me, I'll go sleeper wide receiver shopping and find this year's Chark, this year's AJ Brown, any day of the week. That is my favorite approach right now. And I get asked that question all the time. Smitty, what's your favorite draft approach? Now you know. The 2-headed monster and the 3-headed monster. Go get it in 2020. Make it happen. I know. I believe in you. You can make this happen with enough aggressive trade offer attempts. Toss them out there. Don't do 1 or 2 offers. If you're in a snake draft, it requires a ton of offers. Toss them out. In an auction, don't be afraid to be bold in 2020. 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.